When authorities entered Friedrich Paulus's Dresden villa after his 1957 death, they expected to find faded war relics, perhaps tarnished medals or worn maps from his time as a German field marshal. Instead, they uncovered a cache so startling it reverberated through Cold War intelligence circles. Secret rooms, cryptic letters, and shadowy files hinted at a story far more troubling than anyone had anticipated. The Stasi, East Germany's feared secret police, sealed the discoveries, and Soviet officials erased all traces from the records. For decades, silence cloaked the truth, with no one daring to probe further. Now, newly unearthed clues are rewriting the narrative of the man who surrendered at Stalingrad, exposing a hidden saga that challenges history itself. This is the untold story of what lay concealed in Friedrich Paulus's mansion, a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and secrets too perilous to reveal. In the merciless winter of 1943, Stalingrad was a frozen wasteland where the German Sixth Army, once a pillar of Nazi strength, lay broken under Soviet encirclement. At its core stood Friedrich Paulus, a strategist whose rise in the Wehrmacht was marked by precision and discipline. But Stalingrad was chaos. His 300,000 men starved, froze, and fell under relentless artillery fire. Hitler's orders were absolute: hold the city or perish. On January 30th, 1943, he promoted Paulus to Field Marshal, a title laced with a grim ultimatum. No German field marshal had ever surrendered. Yet, exhausted and disillusioned with the Führer, Paulus defied the unspoken command. On January 31st, he surrendered to the Red Army, becoming the highest-ranking German officer captured alive. Berlin branded it treason. Those who saw his hollowed eyes amid the rubble called it survival. This choice not only reshaped his destiny, but sparked a chain of events that trailed him to a quiet Dresden street. The Soviets saw Paulus as more than a prisoner, a propaganda prize. Whisked to a secluded compound, he faced calculated isolation, fed selective information to erode his resolve. At first, he held firm, sketching battle plans and clinging to his wartime notes. But time, cold, and Hitler's public scorn, calling him a disgrace, cracked his defenses. By 1946, at the Nuremberg trials, Paulus was unrecognizable. Testifying against his former comrades, he detailed Hitler's reckless strategies and dismissed Göring's resupply promises as delusions. "I served a criminal regime," he later confessed, his words a thunderbolt: vindication to the Allies, betrayal to the Wehrmacht. Was this a true awakening or a survival ploy? The question shadowed him as the Soviets kept him in a gilded Moscow cage, writing guarded letters under scrutiny, his family in West Germany beyond reach. Stalin's death in 1953 shifted Soviet policy, and Paulus was sent to Dresden in East Germany, a city still raw from 1945's firebombing. The regime granted him a grand villa on Priusserstrasse, overlooking the Elbe, a gesture of apparent respect. But to those versed in Cold War politics, it was a monitored prison, dubbed Objekt Terrace by the Stasi. Every room was wired, phones tapped, even the gardener an informant. Paulus, once a commander of armies, became a ghostly symbol, half traitor, half redemption story. Shunned by former officers and watched by the state, he lived in isolation, maintaining a soldier's routine: early rises, meticulous notes, a desk ready for inspection. Whispers grew that he hid wartime secrets, letters, reflections, that could unravel both Nazi and Soviet narratives. When Paulus died in February 1957, the Stasi moved swiftly, sealing the villa and combing it for evidence. Behind a hidden study door, they found a locked room, its air heavy with dust and secrets. Inside were crates of handwritten notes, maps, and sealed envelopes with Soviet insignias, some from 1945, others more recent. Letters to Soviet officials, unsent drafts to his family, and a speech denouncing both Hitler and Stalin hinted at a man torn by his past. Labeled the Field Marshal's Papers by a Stasi officer, the find was deemed politically volatile and vanished into Berlin's restricted archives. Rumors swirled. Did Paulus document Soviet missteps at Stalingrad, hide coded exchanges with captive officers, or hold proof of wartime atrocities both sides buried? The redacted inventory and reassigned officers deepened the enigma. When East German archives opened post-Berlin Wall, Paulus's file was listed but missing, possibly destroyed or sent to Moscow. The villa, now privately owned, stands as a silent relic, its gates shut, no marker noting its past. Neighbors recall post-death vans carting away crates under guard, yet no official record emerged. Historians found only fragments, hints of material withheld for state evaluation. Was it a memoir exposing both regimes, secret Soviet files, or a fabricated myth? In East Germany, silence signaled significance, and Paulus's secrets were too dangerous to surface. Today, the cream-colored villa blends into Dresden's restored charm, but for those who know its story, it's a monument to buried truths. Paulus thought he could shape his legacy, but history silenced him. His name remains tied to Stalingrad, his conscience locked in that hidden room. What was so threatening in those papers that both the Stasi and Soviets buried them? Share your thoughts below, and if this tale of secrets and silence gripped you, like, subscribe, and delve into more stories of truths history tried to erase.